Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to talk about inflation and the decision of the Fed on the interest rates, which is actually surprisingly good news this time. And I know it sounds boring, but it's definitely going to affect our wallets and the economy in a large way, so stay tuned for it. So without further ado, my first point is inflation on the rise. So before I get into the content, I want to give you a recap of the inflation report. So in January, there was a kind of worrying report for inflation, which was at 3.1% for CPI, headline inflation. And that was kind of worrying because it did not go down as much as the Fed would have hoped it would. But next month, during the report, it went up to 3.2%, which is worse, of course. And if you ask me, I cannot say 100% if the Fed's data is manipulated, but keep that in mind. But of course, even if it was manipulated, there's no way to, there is a way, but they probably will not fake, most likely will not fake if the inflation increase or not, because in reality, people can feel it in real life. So if it increased, but the numbers wise it did not increase, then we can all tell that the Federal Reserve's report was false. So in February, the report was 3.2, which means it went up, but it was just by 0.1%. So at the time, people was thinking this is kind of bad, but hopefully if interest rate was high long enough, it could pivot. But in the report for March, it went up to 3.5% inflation. So clearly, for a fact, we can see that inflation does not plan on coming down the way the Fed wants it to. So that's really bad. And now to my second point, which is the Fed's dilemma. So like I've said a lot of times in my previous videos, the Fed wants to cut interest rates not just once, twice, but 3 times this year. Every time by 0.25% eventually to 4.75% interest rates, because right now it's at 5.5%. But here's the thing. The inflation report came in so hot that it completely messes up their plan. Initially, at the start of this year, the plan was to cut around May. And right now, it's just not possible. It's impossible. In fact, the predictions has went down to 0%. Impossible. So since that has happened, it just leaves us to ponder, when will they cut, right? But here's the thing. Inflation is in such a bad state that based on what I can see, June is not possible. July is probably not possible as well. But if that's the case, they have to cut September, October, or is it November? September, November, and December. Straight 3 times in a row for the last 3 meetings in the year. Which, I don't know what the data is going to turn out by then. But I highly suspect that the data would be bad by that time, if they actually wants to decrease rate. That's why I think that in fact, they might not even decrease rates at this point. They might even increase rates because inflation is going up. And that's actually a strong enough indicator for them to already increase rates. So, in my opinion, they might not even decrease rates, but they might even increase rates by the end of this year. Unless the data gets good, but, wishing for luck and for a miracle doesn't normally work that well in the economy. And on my third point, which is changing odds and July's prediction. So the Fed's plane is fading faster than an ice cream on a hot summer day. And I think that the rate cuts this year might just not be possible. At least as far as I can see is July. I think July is already highly not likely. Like I said, May is at 0%. June is at 19% chance of cutting rates. 19% might be an exaggeration. Plus 20% is basically not happening. And for July, it went from over 50% to under 50%, which is now 44%. So as you can see, I don't think they can gather enough data until then to cut rates before inflation has a good report. And that's a huge thing. So basically, in my opinion, right now, July is out of consideration already. And in my opinion, if it's not for the Fed's own needs, okay, theoretically saying, if I was the Fed, cutting rates would also be completely out of the decision of this year. And on my fourth point, which is the labor market's role. Right now, I'm just going to give you even more reasons why the Fed shouldn't cut rates, and even more reasons why they should increase rates, actually. First of all, like I said, it's because of inflation, right? But now here comes the labor market. The labor market is stronger than ever. Just last month, the amount of jobs that increased in the US was 303,000 jobs. And that's a lot. That's very high. And in the past 12 months, all the job reports has constantly been above 100,000, which means that the economy is incredibly strong. And unemployment is at 3.8%, historically low. So with this indicator, why would you even consider decreasing rates? Like, labor market is strong means that the economy is strong. People are hiring. Of course, some people are working multiple jobs at perhaps a convenience store or something. But the fact that people are still spending money hiring is an indication of a stronger economy. And unemployment is at very low, and which is also an indication of don't cut rates. If unemployment is high, then you cut rates to save the economy and make people hire more people so they would have jobs. But that's not the case right now. So there's basically no reason to cut rates. And on my fifth point, which is the Fed's take and conclusions. So the Fed says, basically in some of their newer reports and meeting, they say, well, it seems like the report is not doing very well, so we'll probably hold on to our horses and not rush to any harsh decision, which is cutting rates. And basically, the rates will be higher for longer, and that's what the Fed has decided to do as well, which is probably the best decision here. And if inflation gets out of hand even more, then, increase interest rates. But at the same time, the reason why inflation has gone up is also because people think that the Fed is going to decrease rates. So if people think that the Fed is about to decrease rates, they'll spend more because they think the economy is about to get good. But now that the Fed has said that we're going to hold on to high rates, well, it will have an opposite effect. And also at the same time, there were multiple precedents of huge banks in America that says that they are patient and they can hold on this level of interest rates for a while. And they are not struggling and they are not being impatient. It's not that they can't wait. And because of that, the Fed, decide what to do. But if you're wondering why it matters between the bank's president, it's because if interest rates was decreased, it would affect the banks largely because they would be able to earn more profit from interest because they would increase a little bit more interest so they could get money, right? So if the Fed decrease the interest rates, they can charge at the same rates they used to and then earn more money while people get loans from them. Or they can also decrease it but increase the percentage of profit, if you get what I mean. So that's why the Fed has decided to hold for longer. So in conclusion, the Fed is going to hold on for longer, potentially increasing interest rates. That's just my own words. Those were my words. And they have to decide on that for the interest rates. Inflation is also a troublesome thing. And now they have to take in consideration for the job market, which they have. And also I've learned a new thing about the bank's president and how it affects the bank's economy, and how the bank do because of the interest rates increase and decrease. That's what I've learned, and I hope you learned something as well. Comment down below what your opinion is on this situation. Whether you think that the job market is actually not a strong enough indication because of how much people are earning and so on. And I hope to hear your thoughts. I will read your comments, and I hope you can like and subscribe and come to watch another of my videos. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.